Hey everyone, good afternoon to you from my end. It's 1 p.m. in the afternoon here in the US Central Time. And Augusta, what time is it for you?
8 p.m. CET Central European Time.
Okay, thank you for joining us today. We are going to have a 1 hour impact masterclass with Coach Oreoluwa. I can't wait to hear her. But before then, before we get going, I want to make sure that you can hear us. So if you're the first person to come in, let me look at the chat. If you see me looking away, it's because I'm looking at the chat. The chat is on that side. So I try to see what's happening on the chat. So if you're here and you can hear us, do say something in the chat so that we will be sure that our audio and everything is working really fine. Even though I know there's a bit of lag time between the streaming platform and LinkedIn or YouTube, but still, once you come in, say something in the chat, tell me where you're joining from. We are really excited to have you here. So because we have 1 hour, I'm just going to like kind of keep going and going. And the good thing with the LinkedIn Live now is that we do have a recording, unlike before. Augusta, we really did a lot of audio events that is now lost. You see, that's the issue. When it used to be just audio events, you do the event and then that's it. After the event, you don't have a trace of it, you don't have a recording of it. But the beautiful thing now is that you do have a record of your event and you can go back and rewatch it as many times as possible. I really like that aspect. Okay, I see Jeremy joining us. Jeremy says we can hear you. Oh, thank you for joining. Where are you joining from? From DC? Is that what you mean? You're joining from Washington DC, or correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, if you're joining from DC, thank you for joining. I know you should be probably 2 hours behind me, so it's probably 11 a.m. for you if that is Washington. Thank you for joining. Thank you for coming. So I'm going to go ahead and ask Augusta to introduce herself. Then I would introduce myself. We'll introduce Scholar Oak. We'll bring in Coach Oreoluwa, and we can get started. All right, Augusta, please. Who are you? Please, who are you? Are you muted?
Okay. Hello, everybody. I'm super excited. I'm literally just trying to keep my calm and composure here. So, I am Augusta Imaman, a medical doctor turned education consultant turned edtech innovator, and the co-host of this event, working alongside Amaka Ifeduba at Scholar of Mentoring Academy. Bringing the brilliant minds on this platform to showcase what they've got to offer. So I work as a senior what's my role?
Senior
Senior.
Executive Administrator. Please,
Yeah, I still have to keep calm. That's the problem.
please keep
Senior
calm. Breathe.
Executive Administrator of Scholar of Mentoring Academy, and I'm also involved in Africa development in terms of advancing global education across Africa. I'm super excited, and if you want to study in France, I'm your girl. Hear more from me later. Thank you, Maka.
Okay, let me let the cat out of the bag. Oreoluwa is someone Augusta is so excited about, so we have to beg her to compose herself, right? Keep it together, Augusta. Thank you so much for that introduction. And I'm Amaka, right? Amaka Ifeduba, as you can see on the screen. I'm the founder and lead coach of Scholar of Mentoring Academy. And if you're wondering what that means, right? So at Scholar of Mentoring Academy, we actually have two main focus, two things. That's is like we started with one, we branched out to the other, and we've stayed with those two things. And it's easy for me to tell you this is what we do, and we kind of keep our message, our tone, our team around those two things, even our events. The first one is grad school mentoring. So I help students who are trying to come to the United States for grad school. I actually got my PhD. I used to say I got my PhD recently, but now it's no longer recent because I got my PhD in December and it's now August. So I'm becoming old post graduation. So I got my PhD in the US in December. I'm from Nigeria, in case you wonder where my beautiful accent is from. It's Nigerian, right? So I help other people, especially those from African descent who are trying to achieve the same thing, trying to come to the US for graduate school. And Augusta, who works with me, helps students who are trying to go to France. She knows all about France. And then the second thing we do is helping professionals who are trying to show up on LinkedIn and build a brand that is meaningful. We are very intentional about differentiating the things we do. We talk about strategic visibility, not being visible for the sake of being visible, but being visible for the right reasons, connecting with the right people, having access to global opportunities. That is what we do in our monthly program, which we've been running for. It's hard to believe that we've been doing that for 14 months because we are now in the 14th cohort. Month to month, we take professionals through a 21-day training that just takes them through that whole process of content writing, how to position yourself, learning about LinkedIn as a platform, building your confidence, right? Building your courage and being able to show up for yourself and network your way into success, right? A lot of personal experiences has shown me that most of the time, while it is good to be skilled, it's good to be knowledgeable, it's good to have all the education, it's also good for the right people to know that you know the things you know. It's very, very important that the people who matter will be able to remember your name in those rooms where those opportunities are there, and they can say, oh, if it's this thing, this is a person you need to meet. So we teach professionals, we help them to go through this process. So I'm going to play a 1 minute video about Scholar Up, and after that, I'm going to bring in Coach Ore, and then we can have a blast. We can have a blast. I know you all cannot wait. Okay.
Success begins with the right guidance and opportunities. And at Scholar Up Mentoring Academy, we are here to help you unlock your full potential. Whether you're preparing for graduate school applications or building a standout professional presence on LinkedIn, we provide the tools and support you need to thrive. Our programs are designed to help you craft a compelling personal brand, position yourself for global opportunities, and achieve your dreams. Led by Dr. Amaka Ifaduba, a dedicated mentor and coach, Scholar Up empowers you with personalized mentoring, actionable resources, and proven strategies to take bold steps toward a brighter future. Scholar Up Mentoring Academy is more than a program. It's a community dedicated to helping you succeed. Take the first step today and discover how we can guide you on your journey to greatness. Follow our page for updates and access all our resources at linktree.com/scholarupacademy. Your success story starts here.
Okay, so that's that about us in brief. So right now, let's get started proper. Let me just say a little bit of hello to all our friends in the chat that has joined us. We're happy to have you here. The only reason we can be here and have this show is because we have an audience listening to us, right? Otherwise, we'll have a Zoom, a three-way Zoom between the three of us. All right. So I see Mohammed. Mohammed says he's joining from Abuja. Thank you for joining us. Says Mohammed, okay, founder of Sewaku Group. Okay, you can tell me, what do you do at Sewaku Group? I'd like to know. I've never heard that before, but thank you for coming. And then we have joining from Lagos, Blessing is joining from Lagos. Dr. Valentino is here. He said, hello, Dr. Amaka. Hello, Dr. Valentino. Where are you joining us from? We're happy to have you here. We are happy to have you here. Mary, you say you love our sense of humor. Humor is very important, right? Life is not supposed to be hard like that. So it's important to find happiness in the things that are happening in life so you can be happy. Catherine says we are here. Where are you joining from? And we have a LinkedIn user. I can't see your name. You say you're here for it. Okay. As you join us, do tell me where you're joining from and I'll shout out to you. We are excited to have you here. All right, I want to really be very cognizant of our time because our guest is a very busy person, highly sought after coach. She is vastly experienced. Let me bring her up stage while I'm talking about her so that you can be seeing her face. For those of you who have never seen her, but I believe if you're really on LinkedIn and you're not following Coach Oreoluwa, like what are you doing on LinkedIn? Something, maybe you need to go and check while you're on LinkedIn, right? If you're not following her, if you don't read the daily nuggets that she drops around career development and things like that, then you're really missing out. So she really writes a lot about corporate and professional development, and she's actually a manager, right? Maybe I'll give her the opportunity to introduce herself. She can tell us more about what she does in her role as a manager in the banking and capital markets practice in the UK. Sounds very heavy. Okay. So in this role, she supports senior managers, directors, and partners as auditors, leveraging her skill in financial statement audit and analysis to deliver high quality assurance services. So her academic credentials includes a first class degree in accounting, a master's degree in accounting too from Babcock, and then she also has several professional certifications. I won't even go into that one because we won't leave, right? But then beyond her technical expertise, right? So it's always good to have a balance. That's a beautiful part. Don't be all technical. Let's go from the technical. So beyond her technical expertise, she's a dedicated mentor, right? She's dedicated to mentoring and coaching young professionals, particularly those in the early stages of her career. So she shares her knowledge and her experiences to help them grow and succeed through daily writing to inspire thousands of professionals. So that said, welcome. Thank you for honoring our invitation. We are really honored to have you here. Thank you for taking time out of your busy career, busy life, busy everything to come and have this chat with us. We are all excited to learn from you.
Thank you
Welcome, Coach
very
Oreoluwa.
much, Dr. Amaka and Dr. Augusta. Thank you very much for the amazing work you guys are doing all over LinkedIn and beyond and beyond. I'm very happy to be here with you guys, and thank you for sharing me with your audience. And I'm more than happy to see what we get to do in this hour.
Okay, thank you. Yes, so now we are going to jump right in. Let's shout out to our friends who just joined and we can get our conversation started. Solomon says he's joining from Nasarawa State, Nigeria. Okay, welcome, Solomon. And then we have Daniel who is joining from Nigeria. We're in Nigeria. Nigeria is so big, right? And then Favor says she's joining from Edo, Benin City. Nice. Thank you for joining. And then we also have Chioma joining from Nigeria. Okay, you all are going to do one favor for me, right? You're all here. We're having this free session. This is a master class that should be paid for. The information you get here, you go to some paid classes and you don't even get it, right? So what you do for me is to help me repost. It's Saturday. There could be people who are roaming about on LinkedIn, not knowing what to do with their time. So when you repost, they'll probably get to see and they can come in and also benefit from the nuggets that I'll be sharing here. So help us repost. If you're joining from YouTube, help us share. Just help us invite more people just so they could really come and learn. So that said, Coach Ore, I'm going to get started, right? First, I'm going to take you back. I'll say, looking back, just look back a little bit. What was the pivotal decision that accelerated your career growth? And what should professionals look out for when they are making their own? So now you're looking back a few years before you became this manager. When did things change? Yeah.
No, thank you very much, Dr. Amaka, for that question. So I do not think there was one massive decision that I made that changed the trajectory for me or helped me become who I eventually have now become, even though I'm still going on a very long journey. I think it's more or less a accumulation of several little tiny decisions along the way and making a lot of right decisions more than the wrong ones, and then accumulating them and just waiting through time to make sure that they all come together quite nicely and neatly. So I couldn't tell you that there was one huge decision I made that changed everything for me. But if I'm going to bring that back home, what does that mean for a career starter or someone who is just starting their careers? I would say to you that at some point in my career, all I wanted to do was to learn. And it sounds cliche, like all I just want to do is learn. Is the way I see it is I've always had these sort of quote unquote military training, being someone who has been in a big four for most of my career, where the work is usually, quite a lot of work, interesting, complex things you would need to deal with on a day-to-day basis. There are no 2 days that look exactly the same. So having that background, I had to make up my mind that no matter how tough it gets, I'm going to be here. I'm going to show up every single day. And even when I feel like quitting, I'm not going to quit. So, making that decision of no matter how complex it is, I'm going to stay, I'm going to learn. Every single person I meet on my journey is brilliant, is intelligent. There's a lot to learn from them. So I'm going to be learning from people. So I sort of discarded the thoughts around, me thinking like, oh, why are they treating me this way? Or why am I being treated like that? Or why is this work so hard? I moved from that mindset to, this is going to benefit me in the long run, and I'm going to build resilience through uncertainty and all of those things. So I stuck with that. The second thing was, while I was working, I was paying attention to the things that were not said. And that changed my life, and it helped me show up on LinkedIn differently. And what do I mean by that? A lot of people just show up and they are typically on autopilot. There are lots of lessons that are going on their day to day. For instance, when you go into a meeting that you cannot even speak up in that meeting yourself, are you then using that opportunity to see how those who are speaking up are actually talking? So are you then learning from them? Or are you taking the opportunity, like you've written the first draft of a report and it looks like something a toddler has scribbled together, but then when it goes to your boss and they tidy it up, do you do a compare between the first draft and the second draft to actually pick the learnings inside? So those are the tiny little things, and I call that active observation of the things that are not practically said to you, but they are lessons you could pick from your day-to-day work. So those were the tiny little things that I did that sort of came together and made me sort of go on that trajectory that everyone can see today.
I love that. I love that. I love that mindset. Just that mindset of actively learning the small things. Yeah, and I love that answer because I think that question was very deliberate because most times people think there's one big eureka moment, right? If somebody asked me that question, I'll probably have similar answer like the one you gave. There's really no big moment that changes who you are dramatically. It's just the small, tiny choices, the repeated boring things that you do every day. And gradually you look back, it's like, I've really shifted. I'm no longer the person I used to be. So thank you so much for that answer. Then I'm going to ask you another question. I read your post a lot, right? So I binge on it. So most times when I go through my feed and I'm not seeing, I literally search for your name. Like, okay, what did Ore say today? I know I read one of your posts and you said, if you don't know how to play the game, you play at me amiss, right? So I read that post, I integrated into my mind. I was like, okay, so there's a game to this thing, right? There's a game aspect, there's the whole technical aspect of it, then there's the game. What does that mean for someone who is starting their career in their early years? How do they understand this game in terms of the corporate setting, in terms of actually moving their career forward and not being stuck? From my own experience, I've seen that sometimes it's not the most qualified people that gets the best out of their career. Sometimes the most qualified people are there in the background. So what does the game thing mean? Explain to us.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, I'm going to come to it from the perspective of the law of entropy. And the law of entropy is practically the law of randomness, or and it is basically the rate at which something, oh, I'm not a scientist, so forgive me, it's the rate at which, if you neglect something without an external input or factor, that thing continues to go into disarray or chaos, right? So if you treat your career the same way, that the more you neglect your career and you just wing it. So a lot of people just, oh, I just got a job here, and then they enter into, so they resume on the first day. They don't know what's expected of them. They do the first week, and they do the first month, and they do the first year, and before they know it, they've done 10 years, and no single career coach inside, no single guidance inside. They're just winging it. They don't know how to respond to their bosses. They don't know how to handle a difficult team member. They don't know how to handle a difficult client, and they're just winging it. What they're doing is they are neglecting the probability of them, absolutely sort of, they are basically letting go of what more they could become, or they are not really tapping into the potential of them becoming so much more. Okay, so they are winging it. Compared to someone who gets into their career, for instance, and they have mentors and they have career coaches, and they come across an issue that, although small, but they have someone to talk to about it, and the person says, well, on that particular issue, don't respond to that email. Like, don't respond to that email, just let it go. And then someone who doesn't have guidance will respond to a funny email, and then they will take that email as evidence against them, and then they will get into this rabbit hole of being, whatever, and the person is probably on their way out of their job. So there is the law of entropy, which is, if you don't pay attention to something, if you neglect something, it goes into chaos. So that is it's not so much as a game, it's so much as strategy. You understanding that every single thing you do or do not do in your career matters, right? And it is also so much as knowing that if you show up to a meeting early, there is an upvote for your career trajectory in that organization, you will be shocked that something as simple as showing up 6:59 before 7, someone will be like, oh, well, she's in the game. Something as small as putting on your camera during a work meeting, you will be shocked, is an upvote to how you are perceived in the organization, right? Something as simple as asking a question when you don't know what it is in a meeting. Meanwhile, you may be like, okay, don't let me ask you a question because I don't want to sound stupid. But most of the people, 99% of the people in that meeting also do not know the answer. So when you ask the question, people were like, oh, she's so courageous. That gives an upvote to how you turn out in your career.
Right.
So it is all those little actions that you do take, or inaction. You know when not to speak, and then you just sort of you don't pretend like you know something you don't know. So you basically doing those little things. You have a boss that is like your human shield that you interact with every day. Someone who has me as their coach, for instance, will know that your relationship should not stop with your immediate boss. Your relationship should go further, lateral moves. Your boss's boss should be someone you can walk into their office and say, hello, how are you doing? My name is this, I work for you. Something like that, and then move it. So those tiny little things that you do are strategies that come together and form your career at the end of the day. But if you don't know, you don't know.
You don't know what you don't know. Like what I'm hearing you say is like, as people, we need to take control to, as much as possible, stack the odds in your favor.
Yeah.
It's a lot of probabilities. So you want to stack it up in your favor by not just leaving things to chance. That's I'm going to just follow that up with another question before I ask Augusta to give us, her insight. I know I can look at her face. There's a lot of thoughts going on in her mind. So I'll ask you one more question and then Dr. Augusta can chime in. So what is like an underrated skill from your experience now? You've been in your career for a while and you've coached a lot of other people. What is this underrated skill, a mindset shift that you believe gives the highest return on investment in today's competitive market that most people overlook? Like they don't even, like you said, you don't know what you don't know. They don't think about it. They don't put it into consideration, and then it costs them a lot. What do you think that is?
I mean, when we step back, right? If you take a couple of steps back and you look at the word skill, what does it mean? Now, for me in particular, it means your ability to solve problems that are not just current problems, but emerging problems. And those problems need to be important enough for important people, right? That is you having a skill to be able to solve a problem that matters to people, right? So the biggest investment that will have the highest ROI ever is the investment in yourself. That wherever it is you step into, no matter the problem, it doesn't matter whether it is a technical problem in a field you have zero idea about. That is why someone who, like myself, who is a career coach, can coach anybody from any field, and I would still have an idea when they're trying to explain something to me. I'll still have an idea and be able to share some insights that can help them and they can take and apply in their own technical field, right? So the biggest investment is going to be the investment in yourself. And then you also, if you take a couple of steps back from that again, because I also am I'm very aware that there are some phrases and words we just use loosely and people don't even understand what that means. For instance, investing in yourself, what does that even mean? So investing in yourself can take different forms, shapes, and all of that. So I'll talk to you about how I invest in myself, right? One of the things I do is I set very big goals for a very short time frame. So say 5 months, I set a very big goal that I know that if I don't, it should probably take me a year or two to achieve it, but I would say I will achieve it in 5 months. Now, what that does for me is I then move away from lack of clarity to actual clarity. I know what I want. I go for the jugular. I am not playing around. I go for it. Now, what that does for me is help me connect to the resources that I need immediately, because now there is no point dabbling into this work, with that no work. We don't have time for that. So set big goals, short time frame, that helps me every single time. Number two is this, that if there are people you adore, just this morning, my LinkedIn post was just basically talking about the people I adore and I love their work and I follow their work. If there are people you love their work and you follow their work, please follow their work really hard. Like if they write a book, buy the book. If they have a podcast, stay and watch the podcast. Be a moving library. Some people have this gigantic room in their house that have many books they don't get to read. Okay, so it's not about the books on your shelf, it's about what you know that you have internalized, that when you come into meetings like this, you can say things that will actually shape the lives of people, and not just shape the lives of people, they will take it, they will act on it, and they will begin to see some downstream effect of what you have said. So it is that way, like buying a book and reading a book, listening to a podcast instead of watching a Netflix show, for instance. And that doesn't mean you shouldn't watch a Netflix show, because I do watch Netflix shows. So, but you choose, right? Every single time I'm doing my house chores, sometimes it takes me 3 hours to meal prep, do whatever over the weekend. It's full masterclass. I'm listening to a podcast, audio book, whatever it is, because I'm just making sure I'm getting the best out of it. So in your own situation, what does investing in yourself mean? And please, when I love someone's work and I can afford to be in their room, in their class, I am in their class. So because again, that's what you don't pay for, you're never going to pay attention. Okay, so if you like someone's work and they are offering it, you need to pay for it. And there is something else people do. When you earn your salary, now let's go some non-traditional. If you look at an artist or an actress, for instance, you see them, or even content creators, you see them, when they get money, they invest in like their makeup, their wardrobe, their all of that. That is investment in themselves, right? To show up well. Why do 9 to 5 workers not take a portion of their salary and invest in the brain they're taking back to do the work? And they know they're going to continually need to be ready for the future. Why don't they do that? So a typical 9 to 5 person does not have a budget for books. They don't have a budget for buying the books. They don't even read about the work that they do. And as such, when they get into meetings, when people are sharing insights, they have nothing to share. And the reason why people will say, I lack confidence, is because they're not competent. Because if you don't read, you can't be competent. And when even when there are emerging opportunities and those opportunities are given to you, you can't make use of them. So that is basically you investing in yourself, and for you to have the highest ROI, because this is you. This is me, Oreoluwa Bukola. My biggest asset ever is what is sitting in front of you right now, because that's where all my money goes into, right? So that's it. If you want to invest in yourself because it's going to give you the highest ROI.
Deep. Augusta will nearly jump out of the screen. Augusta, contain yourself. Yeah, but that is so deep. And honestly, as simple as what you've shared sounds, I've seen it make a shift in my own life, and a shift in the people who are intentional about understanding the. And my own biggest investment, I say it all the time. I'm like, anything I cannot put in myself so I can show up as this person. And you said something again that is very critical about you know, the confidence competence loop, which is, people think they will just feel confident for nothing. How would you become confident? It's like the more competent you become, the more confidence you can show up, right? At the beginning, all you need is just courage. You need courage to be the beginner who is learning. But then the more you learn, you realize you wake up one day and you're no longer learning. You've now become the person that other people are looking up to for answers. Thank you so much for those deep insights. Augusta does a beautiful job of doing a quick summary for us, and then we'll shift gears again. Before I hand it over to her, let me say hello to our friends in the chat again, because I always like them to know that I see them and I'm happy that they are here and listening to us. So Festus says he's joining from Lagos. Welcome, Festus. And we have Pascal from Ghana. We have Alex from Nigeria. Chinasa too is from Nigeria. Good. Thank you for coming. We have Antina from Ethiopia. Thank you for being here. I have a friend from Ethiopia. And then we have, which flag is this? Let me not say the wrong flag. LinkedIn user is from a flag that is not immediately clear to me which country it is. So let me not shout out the wrong thing. Then we have Dr. Valentino. Okay, says he's from Lagos, and I think Dr. Costa was trying to give some insights in what you said about Murphy's law. When you leave things the way they are more likely to be that way. Thank you, Dr. Costa, for providing that insight. And then we have Uzoma from Nigeria. Nigeria is so big. Tell me where from Nigeria. I'm Nigerian too, so I want to put it in my mind, like, which corner of Nigeria? Is it Jos, that is my hometown, or Anambra State, that is my village? Which one? Which part of Nigeria? And then we have Jiva said, let your vision Let your vision be world embracing. Okay, thank you. Thank you for that deep insight. And you say you're joining from London, Ontario, and Canada. Okay, is London a place in Canada? I'm not very sure, but thank you. Thank you for being here. It's good to have you here. Thank you so much for coming. And then we have Peter, said from northern Nigeria. Okay, I grew up in northern Nigeria. And then you are enjoying the conversation. I'm glad we all are enjoying the conversation. Wow, there's a lot of people here. So I'm going to jump so we don't take a lot of time. Mohammed from Nigeria. Oh, Professor Roxana is here. Thank you, Prof. From South Carolina, USA. It's always good to have you in our show. Thank you for being here, Prof. And then Sharif says from Uganda. Wow, this is a good spread. We have Nigeria. Ooh, Nigeria. Okay, let me jump back to the show. Thank you all for coming. Thank you so much for listening and keeping the chat busy. If you've not reposted, we are half an hour in, so this is a good time to still repost so that people can join for the last 30 minutes. I'm sure even listening to one question can be the change for somebody else's life, right? Dr. Augusta, over to you. Give us a quick summary. Okay,
Trying to put myself together. I don't know if you
please.
can see the hearts in my eyes.
I can
They're
I can
popping
see you
out.
trying to jump out of the screen.
I
Yes.
was actually like moved to tears by that love and admiration, but I've been able to calm down. Thank you very much. So, Ore, I want to start by saying that the investment that you're making in yourself is paying off. Bravo. Kudos
Thank
to
you,
you.
thank you, thank you.
Okay. So, just to summarize, Ore said that we asked Ore, how did you become this magnificent woman that you have become today? And she explained that it's the sum total of the little things that she has picked up and that she has learned along the way.
Mm,
And because of these little things, she's able to contribute in conversations. She's able to participate in things outside her immediate sphere. So if she's in a work meeting, she can raise up her hand. I'm like, okay, I don't understand this. Could you explain this? And that shows clarity to others, and people can see her and know her and see her capacity. And then she mentioned saying expanding your circle beyond your immediate how do I say, like if you're in the communications team, you want to also network with the marketing, no, that's close, but maybe like another team, and say hello to your boss's boss, because people cannot help you if they don't know you. I would say that. And then to the underrated skill question, she explained that your skill is your ability to solve problems. And you can't solve problems if you don't even get to know things. Of course, she said the greatest investment is the one you make in yourself, and she's obviously like evidence of that. And then we mentioned the confidence competence loop, because you think you lack confidence because you're an introvert. No, sorry girl, it's because you're not competent. So if you want to have more confidence, be more competent. And just a little contribution from me, I was talking to Amaka before the show how like I was at an event before, like earlier this year, talking about some how to position yourself digitally and improve or grow on LinkedIn. And I reviewed some people's profiles and I gave some pointers to some places that they could work on, how to shine better. And I came back 6 months after to those people's profile. I reviewed 5 profiles. Only one out of those 5 people had done anything to their profile. And I could see that they were posting that they were attending another event, they were attending another event, they were going for this other workshop. It doesn't really matter if you keep, saying you are learning or going to workshops. If you cannot showcase or use what you've learned, I'm sorry to say, it's somewhat useless. So if you're learning this thing now, implement it, and that's when the impact will be felt by you and by others. So let me stop here.
all right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that wonderful point. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. And that's why you come to realize that, yeah, I think Ore also mentioned it, that most of the time when things are free, people cannot even pay attention. I love the way she put it. Most times people don't value, like, you're doing things for free and you really think you're helping people. You realize, okay, maybe you're helping 1%. Maybe there's that 1 or 2% that really, like, okay, I really don't have money to afford, but I'm happy to have a very, very small percentage. That is what my own mentoring journey has taught me. Now, most times I give people opportunities, I give them scholarships, I give them free access. It's a tiny percentage that actually take that to make use of it. But sometimes when people pay, it makes a difference because now they know that, oh, I've spent something out of my pocket or something. So now I have to really make sure that this makes a difference. I think that's a very, very important point that you've made. Thank you for that beautiful summary. I'm going to keep going because I want to maximize the time. Solomon, I just saw your chat. You said, yes, in my last event, I remember you were asking for my email and I didn't, I forgot to give it to you. Sorry. Let me just put it on the screen. So it's literally my first name, second name at gmail.com. My email is not complex. So you have it now. You have my email now. All right. Let me keep going. So I'm going to jump now to ask you the role that mentorship have played. Most of the time, people downplay the power of mentorship. For me, when I go into that conversation, I can talk for 1 hour, how having the right mentor changed my life. But I want to hear your own story. What role has mentorship helped you in your skilling journey? And then how can people position themselves to attract the right mentors or sponsors, as the case may be? Because I've seen cases, people have asked me that question. How am I going to find a mentor? And literally, people have come to my inbox to say, hello, Amaka, can you be my mentor? Truly, I get those DMs every day. I'm like, how do you not know that this is not how to do this? Right? So maybe from your experience, you tell us, how do people attract the right mentor? What role has mentorship played in your own journey?
No, thank you very much. It's quite interesting that the reason why I started writing on LinkedIn is because I didn't have active mentors through my career myself. And I don't know whether that was obviously there was the bit of me who would not go into anybody's DM and ask them to be my mentor. There was that part of me. I used to be very camera shy, people shy. You'll be shocked. I felt genuinely like I was an introvert until just 5 years ago, and I would not create any relationship with nobody. I was a
Mm,
lone wolf. That was the biggest. I don't see anything I've done in my life as a mistake, but I thought that was something I could have done better in the first 5 years of my career. So I didn't really have mentors, as you would typically call it. I was just fortunate enough to be directed in a way by my dad. Like he had me write the right exams, wanted me to work in some kind of organizations and the rest. So I had that kind of upbringing. So that sort of tilted me in the right direction. But in terms of like just random people going to meet them and say, please, can you be my mentor? That never happened for me. And then I saw that as a gap really when I grew to a level. I saw that people were actually coming to me to be their mentor on LinkedIn. I'm like, oh, absolutely. I didn't have any. And the kind of questions they were asking me was so vanilla. And I'm like, you cannot know this, no? They don't know. I'm like, okay, there's something here. Okay, you know what? Then I started responding to people individually. Then I'm like, it's just how my brain works. How do I scale this? Now, instead of me coaching one by one, because then it will be inefficient for me and ineffective for them and to the wide variety of many people that needed it. Let me just coach outside. I mean, what's the worst case scenario? Someone will say, all right, you know what, stop coaching so you don't put people in trouble. That's the worst case scenario, right? So I started writing on LinkedIn and then I started coaching people. Now, this is what I will say to people. Now, the world has changed slightly from, I think it has changed slightly from going to meet people and asking them to coach you because or mentor you because number one, they may not be good mentors, even though they themselves have good careers. So the fact that someone has reached the very top of their careers does not mean that they're good with helping other people rise as well. It has to do with, do they care really? Do they have that care for somebody else to help them progress? And that's why a lot of people will go and meet someone that is like the MD of an organization, for instance, who is still battling how to deal with all of his stakeholders, his investors, his board, and all of that. You go and meet him to a mentor. He's not going to mentor you per se, because I mean, you're just starting your career. He's lost any sense of relatability, can't relate to what the things you're feeling, really. So they may not be able to mentor you. What I would say to anyone who is just starting off is look for those communities where you pay next to nothing, but you get coaching. this is simple stuff, right? Where you get like, what are you looking for? What are you looking for? So, for instance, let's say someone has mentioned to you, you don't speak up in meetings. There are gazillion free resources on YouTube or whatever where you can go and learn. The issue is people don't want to do the hard work of sieving because there will be a lot of nonsense as well. But people don't want to do a lot of sieving to get the right information that they need. But there are also going to be communities around, like Dr. Amaka's community, and maybe Dr. Augusta. I know she supports Dr. Amaka as well. There will be communities that support you, right? That you pay next to nothing. Join those communities. Put yourself in that situation where you can be mentored. Now, at work, you need a sponsor. At
Mm,
work, you need a sponsor. A sponsor is someone who has the ability, number one, who has access to the rooms where decisions are made for your progression. Okay,
mm,
so that's a sponsor. You are not going to get your sponsor from LinkedIn because your sponsor needs to be able to say good things about you at work. Okay, so it doesn't matter whether you have that what's it called at work. Maybe you have that organizational structure or not. It doesn't matter. If you need to pay attention to three people in your organization, let me give you this framework quite quickly. In your organization, three people. Your immediate boss. You can't have problems with your immediate boss. Even if you have problems with your immediate boss, your work is to kill the fire. Your
mm,
immediate boss is so key because they're going to be in the room when decisions are made on your behalf. Number two is the influencer. The influencer is someone who doesn't have the decision making power, but the decision maker respects their opinion. Okay,
mm,
so you need to look around and say, who is that person that all the bosses want to hear what their thought is? Go and
mm,
build a relationship with that person. And now,
mm,
when you're asking someone to be your sponsor, you don't necessarily just go to them and say, be my mentor. You're going to send them away. So, you can do something as little as approaching them to say, oh, is there anything you're working on now that you need help with that I can support you with? That's how you
mm,
start. That's
mm.
how you start. And
Deep
then you
stuff.
help them. They'll be like, okay, there's one slide I'm trying to prepare. I don't know if you can help. Take it from them. Another thing, oh, I'm going to grab lunch. Have you eaten? Do you want me to do anything for you? Do you need a cup of coffee? That's how you start. Little by little, they will be the ones who will now start watching out for you. They will now go into meetings, and then when they hear something about you, they will call you and say, what's going on? I heard this about you. That's how you build a mentorship relationship or a sponsorship relationship. Now, with decision makers are people like maybe like your boss's boss or their boss or whatever. That one you don't need too close relationship. All you need is hi, they know you by your first name. In fact, you don't need more than that because at the end of the day, even though they are decision makers, they only make decisions based on the information they've been provided. So those would be my thoughts.
Yeah, you've just said, you just gave away like something very, very deep, and it's only someone who knows how to discern that could just, the way we say in church, it's like grab that rema and keep it, hold it to heart. People do a lot of like, people feel like a mentoring relationship is something that is a one-way street. It's like my mentor is supposed to do this and do that for me, and people come to you and say, oh, I want you to be my mentor, and they're expecting you to magically change their life. They never understand the place of service. Like they don't understand that place of like, I want to do something for my mentor so that this person will notice me and decide to mentor me. I've had people who just, I don't even know, I will not tell you that this is when the mentoring relationship started. It's just in me identifying that this person is someone I want in my space. And then you go out of your way to begin to get yourself noticeable to them. And before you know, you have this beautiful mentoring relationship going without you just going to like, hey, can you be my mentor? Which is like, yeah, that is very, very, that's very, very key. We have a lot of contributions from the chat. I want to see what our friends are saying so that we can let them know that we are carrying them along. Oh, this is a dear mentor of my mentee. This is my dear mentee. It says contributing to conversations intelligently has opened many doors for me. I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that at all. If you want to be more confident, be more competent. Yes, that is right. And then we have Elizabeth says, wonderful addition there, Dr. Augusta. Implementation is where the real change happens. That's true. We can yap all we want. Unless you're willing to do something with the things you've learned, then we can as well keep talking, right? That is good. And then Emeka says something very, is gifts is gifts to your mentor right? Oh, okay, you're asking a question. Is giving a gift to your mentor right? I'm probably going to ask Ore her opinion, and then I'll give you my own opinion because I believe my own answer is it depends. But Ore, what do you think?
Yeah, I'll say it depends as well. It depends on the kind of relationship that you have with them. And give doesn't necessarily have to be monetary. It can be your time. It can be supporting a vision they have. So, for instance, something as small as if you think you have a mentor who shows up on LinkedIn, or they wrote a book, you can buy the book. You can be the first. That's how you show support. You don't necessarily need to give them money or anything. You can, they have an event like this. So if someone is your mentee, Amaka, for instance, they can carry your webinar on their head. That's how they support you, right? So
True.
it doesn't
Yeah.
necessarily have to be money. You can
Mhm.
you think outside the box, because for someone to be your mentor, do they really need your money per se? So it's just the extra level of thoughtfulness you put into things that matter.
That's true. That's well, you gave the answer I would have given. Someone has a question, Jeremy. Let me read the question to you. He says, an L and D and organization development executive for over 25 years. Okay, maybe you're telling me who you are. Have owned my own business and served as a consultant. Have a background in corporate non-profit organization. I want to go to work for corporate, but they discard me as someone who won't stick around because I've owned my own business prior. How do you tackle their objection? Oh, okay. This is now his. Yeah, all right. Maybe this is you. You can jump in and
Yeah, no, no, no
give to.
worries. So I'll be shocked, really. I mean, there will be. I don't know if they're giving you proper feedback, like detailed feedback as to why, other than just the fact that because you've run a business yourself. Because I would have thought that was a positive. So you imagine you going into an interview and really telling them, "Oh, I've tried to be an entrepreneur before," and then you telling the story of those hard times, working through uncertainty, how the kind of skills you've built along the lines, and all of that, and how you can bring your entrepreneurship heart and bring it on board, understand the business of your employer, and be on the side of management and help them drive some good numbers and all of that. I would have thought that those would be positive. And with interviews, I think there are two things really with interviews. Is number one, there's a difference between you having the experience and having the proof story, and from you actually having the experience, having the proof story, and then conveying the story during the interview. They're two different things, because every interview is an opportunity to tell your story. They don't know you, they don't know this business you've built, they don't know anything. You have less than an hour or so to convince them that you are the right pick, because maybe before you walked into the room, they were hoping and praying that you are the right person. So your work was to prove them right in that room. So the question is, when you did the pitch during that interview process, did you tell the story of how what you went through when you were building the business and the kind of new things you learned? It doesn't matter whether the business succeeded or the business failed or whatever. Taking that story and plugging it into the vision of that organization during the interview should be a win, I would have thought. But if that is the only reason why they said no, maybe they didn't deserve to have someone who is widely skilled like yourself.
Right, right. That is my own thought too. Because for me personally, running Scholar Up Academy over this past year, now entering the second year, it's always been a plus because it's something I bring in with interviews to say, "Oh, I've
Yeah,
done this. This is my track record. I did this. I did that. I can do it because
yeah,
I can show you what I've done." Right.
yeah.
So yeah, it's the same reaction that I have. But then, just as Ore said, sometimes people don't even deserve you because there's also
That's
that intimidation thing. There's also politics in the workplace, whether or not we want to go into that rabbit hole. There's
yeah,
always that sometimes people are looking at you and they feel intimidated somewhat
yeah,
and feel like, is this person going to come and replace me? Some of
yeah,
those politics go on, and
yeah.
sometimes there's really not much you can do about it than to make sure you're positioning yourself right, you're looking broadly, you're doing the best you can to network with the right people. Because I've seen that sometimes just having an advocate in the room, it makes all the difference. Sometimes someone is advocating for you, someone can speak to your character beyond your skill, because sometimes for job too, people are looking at culture. People want to see that beyond your skills. People say skills can be learned, but you as a person, what culture are you bringing with you? Are you able to work with people? And all of those little nuances that goes beyond just the technical qualification that you are bringing on paper. So I hope this provides some
And
insights for
I
you.
think he said something. He said, because he came back and he said, they tell me that I won't stick around and that's why they aren't hiring me. So maybe in your next interview, talk about your plan to stay with them, and how, because that may sound reasonable to me if they think because you
Mhm.
are an entrepreneur, you may just stay with them for less than a year, and that sounds like legit to me,
Yeah, we don't want to
logical.
make that
Yeah.
investment.
So maybe in the next interview run you have, maybe already prepare a story as to why you think you're going to stay back.
Right, right. Yeah, because personally, I've faced cases where they say you're overqualified, you're just looking for a placeholder. So we
Mm,
wouldn't give you this role because if you maybe you're just really looking for a job and you come on this job and you're just looking for another one. So there's that thing about overqualification too, which, like again, you have to know how to sell your story in a way that it lands. Yes,
great.
Augusta, you want to chime in for a minute so that we can go to the last lap of questions. Within our last 10 minutes, I did plead with Coach Ore that
Ooh,
if I move beyond 5 minutes extra, please don't be angry. The worst I will do is to take 5 more minutes. So we have like 10 more minutes to our time, and I still have like 3 questions I want her to get through. So, Augusta, you have anything quickly to
so
add before we?
I'm gonna be very quick then. So I just want to say that question also applies for people like me who are transitioning. So I'm a medical doctor currently working in education, and I had to show like my deep interest and passion in the field, and show them like my long term perspective. I think maybe that's why I changed my LinkedIn line from admission to sorry, from dream to degree to more like advancing global education, to see that I have a long term vision for this field I'm going into, not just, I just want a job because I'm testing this thing out. No, I'm in here for the long run.
Right.
So, um, just to mention a few things that she said that struck me. Let's start from the very first thing. Most times, if you're not paying attention. So if you find someone you admire, buy their book, buy their coaching, and if you want someone to mentor you, carry them on your head first. Let me use her word. Carry them. Want Amaka to mentor you. You see Amaka mentoring Emeka and Divine and all the people she's mentoring, you can see how they carry scholar up on their head. So it's a no-brainer. She's going to obviously want to recommend them and speak about them when when she has opportunity or she's in a closed room where she can.
Right.
So, and then she says, people having good careers or being successful doesn't mean that they can coach you. So, one key attribute of a mentor is that they have this care and empathy. They have to look. What's the word I was? Look look out for you. Have your best interest in mind, and
Mhm.
then you don't go to a mentor and ask very vanilla questions. I like that statement. Don't be asking questions like, oh, how do I find a job, or what do I do? You can go to YouTube, you need to do the hard work of finding information and filtering out what you need. So if you are coming to a mentor, you ask more structured advice that, okay, I've learned about this and I've seen this, I'm trying this out. Do you think this is the best approach? Something very
Mhm.
specific. Do you
Right.
understand?
Right.
And then she
That's
mentioned this killer, three people that you need on your side in your workplace. Your immediate boss. Please don't fight with your immediate boss. They're not your competition. Be on their side and make peace with them. Then the
mm,
influencer in your office, the people that are major decision makers, and then your boss's boss. Not too familiar. Just let them know your name, and then when they mention Augusta, they come. Yes, I know that person. Yes, 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 yes.
Yep.
So I have a question. Can you give me an example of who can be like an influencer, just for clarity? Like, who is the influencer in your office?
Yeah, so
Thank
the influencer is somebody who the decision maker respects their opinion,
Mhm.
and they kind of have their way around things. They are mostly popular, and people like them. People, and they are progressing really fast in a way that you would like to progress as well. And people just naturally, not just people, because an influencer can also be someone that maybe other people don't like, but management likes them, or the people above like them. But just out for that person who has the ears of the boss or the
Right.
decision maker. That's the influencer. Someone who, when they say something good about you, everybody takes it.
Right.
That is the influencer. So you need to
Mhm.
be able to identify who that is at your workplace.
Yep. Okay. Now we are going to switch gears a little bit. I want to hear about strategic visibility because you really like one of the few people that inspired me when I showed up on LinkedIn last year. I started this whole LinkedIn. I used to be social media averse, right? I just opened Facebook not long ago, opened YouTube. So I'm really new to all of this internet thing. I prefer to kind of take a step back and hide myself so that village people will not see me. That kind of thing. So that's where I'm coming from. So, but now I'm beginning to see that if you want to work at scale, it's hard to connect to people if you're waiting to do things with the people you see day to day. You may not be able to really do that. So you've built this recognizable brand online, right? And you're still working in the corporate space. It's very few people that are able to manage that, really.
Yeah.
Sometimes the people who are so LinkedIn, you realize that for the most part, most of them, LinkedIn is their job. Yeah, it's like LinkedIn is like that's all they do. So, but to find someone who is holding down their corporate front and still really visible, like your discipline is on a different level. It's like every day, if you don't drop a post, maybe something happened, but back to back. So, how can professionals balance the visibility with authenticity, avoid oversharing, avoid a way that it doesn't spill into their corporate work? Because I've had people that I coach who will tell you that the reason I'm not posting is because I don't want somebody in my office to. I don't want this, I don't want that. It's going to be a problem. How do people really draw that fine line without getting themselves in trouble and then without shrinking themselves?
Yeah. So let's assume that you don't have any issues with your workplace, you showing up. Because I would have thought that you'll be an ambassador of your workplace, and you showing up and really building the following would give them, I mean, you've got their name on your profile, right? Would give them that visibility as well. But I also get the fact that it's not all organizations that would want that. So let's just assume that your organization has nothing with they are happy for you to show up on LinkedIn. And the way you can test that is probably to make a post and see how they react. Maybe that's it, or just to watch whether they react or don't react. Maybe that's it if you don't know, especially. But don't assume that they would not allow, because this is your personal, professional page.
Right.
What I did in my own case is, if you look at my profile, I've put all views on my posts are mine only, which means you can't say I'm talking on behalf of my organization,
Yeah.
because all views on my post are mine. Okay.
Yeah.
So there is that disclaimer. Now, you talked on the point about how I'm able to, build boundaries between my work and first showing up. The discipline of showing up is, I've sort of mastered the art of, and I mean it. This is one of the things I'm most proud about. I know it doesn't come easy to everybody, but I'm most proud about is when I have discretionary hours, I am making it profitable. So you would hardly find me, especially during the course of the day, not having anything to do. I'm either learning or I'm building. Is either one of both. So whenever I have a free time, I'm thinking about something new I want to build. I'm thinking about something I want to write. I'm thinking about somebody who may need something. So converting that free discretionary time into something meaningful that you can then use to continue to build your brand is the absolute thing. Some people have up to 8 hours of discretionary time in a day, and they don't know. They just wake up, lie down in the bed, scroll, then get up, go to work. Some people even have some routine that you can classify as not necessary. It doesn't move them forward in any meaningful way, but they still do have that routine. And then in the evening, they come back from work, they just lie down, call all their family members in the village, they tell them all the problems going on with their uncle's wife,
Yeah, like lots of time wasters.
exactly. A lot of time that you could actually convert into building your own personal brand. And let me tell you something. I made a post on TikTok just this afternoon. I said, when you start to stand out, you would have isolation problem. Your biggest pain will be isolation. If you're not feeling isolated, you have not started on the brand building journey. It's just, that's my rule of thumb, heuristic. That's my heuristic. Once you start feeling like, I don't have time for this, the things you used to have time for before, you don't have time for it, then you're probably on the right track, because that is the smell test. Isolation. You will just see, because every time you have your answer like, what can I do with this time? Let me quickly make a post. Let me write this. Let me do that. That's how you'll be thinking. Anyways, that's my opinion. Then there is a fine line between my work and my, sharing. So what I did was to create a framework around, because I work with an organization that prioritizes their reputation, which I agree with. So I must not put my organization into disrepute. I've got a lot of certifications as well that I've sworn the oath not to put them into disrepute. I have therefore made a conscious decision not to partake in some conversations, no matter how tempting it is. I can talk about it offline when I'm talking to my sister at home or talking to my husband, but I will not be putting it online. There's some conversations around religion, politics, sports, gender, any conversation that is controversial. People have varying views and all of that. I do not. have conversations or posts where people are calling people out, or someone is trying to, be confrontational to another creator, you will not find me under that post. I will not be doing that. Anything that does not give off the vibe, the energy that I am proud of, I will not be doing that. There is also the part that I genuinely believe that my future is bright, and anybody that I will get to a point where people will do a huge research on me, and the margin of error has to be less than 1%, and they must not find anything incriminating about me. A time is going to come when I will be getting those type of opportunities that I just believe it, and I don't want them to go online search about me and they're like, oh, sorry, based on our policies, you know, this could, these things are happening to influencers,
I talk
videos
about it
going
all the
out,
time here.
that they're happening, things they wrote 10 years ago. The people will screenshot it and bring it, but this is you now. Is this not you? In fact, I saw someone on Twitter, was it yesterday, that they called someone who is now supporting one party, was writing something good about one, that. So you don't want, because if you don't only think about today, you think about the future, then that will guide the kind of things you post about right now. Now, it may look like, oh, for us to get the algorithm going, let's post this, let's post that, let's do some buzzwords, let's do. That's fine. You will get the views, but then you will not be getting the bigger deals when it then matters. So that's how I think about it. Really.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. And in my own opinion, it doesn't mean that you don't have to have strong opinions. I do have strong opinions. That's always my style. But then it's in the situation where you don't need to call people out. I can give an opinion and comment on something. Don't call people out. Don't get involved. I also don't like controversy as much as possible. I like to I like to avoid controversial things, especially if it brings kind of that idea of this person versus this person. Yeah, it's something that is part of my training when I talk with them as I do the onboarding. Whatever you are putting out there, the internet doesn't forget. So I always tell people, whatever I'm writing, I want to be able to defend it in the next 5 years, in the next 20 years. I want to say with my full chest, I said this. Yes, I said it, and because it is what I believe. And so even if I'm going to disagree on somebody's post, I'm going to disagree respectfully. That's okay. I'll disagree with you, respect. I think I made a post recently when I said I read a post and someone said they are doing a master class to teach people how to earn 2 PhDs, 4 masters, 3 bachelor's degrees. Respectfully, I said, why does anybody need this much of formal education? I want to also learn from you, right? Because then you see a lot of interested, and you're thinking that group think thing. As a coach, is like it holds young people bound. Let's go with the bandwagon. So it's important that even when you want to disagree, it shouldn't be about confrontation. Sometimes in life, what makes the difference is not what you said, it's how you said it. I've seen that makes a huge difference. The way you even disagree on issues can be the difference between somebody feeling offended or between you dialoguing with someone and coming to it. Oh, okay, it makes sense if this is how you explain it. So thank you for chiming that in. I know our time is past, so I'll ask you one more question and let you go. Now, you've been on LinkedIn for a while. I don't know how long anyway, but I know I came and I met you as a LinkedIn star, right? I don't really know how long you've been doing it before I showed up. How can you say that your experience of really dedicating time, because it does take time, it does take some time and discipline and energy to keep typing up those posts, creating videos, doing all of that. How can you say that your online presence has actually translated to real opportunities for you? I feel like it's very important that we begin to have more of those conversations so that people can understand that I'm not just wasting my time. I should be able to point to a mentee of mine and say, because this person showed up, they were invited to the presidential villa. This one did that. I should be able to have those things in my hands to tell you that this is the difference. So I want you to also share from your own experiences. How has it translated to online opportunities, whether promotions, projects, speaking engagement, money? Money is good too now. So how do you, yeah, what is your opinion about that?
So the first thing I'm going to say is showing up has changed me as a person radically, because I have become someone who I was not 3 years ago when I started. I was not this person who was this articulate and would think something in my head and I would be able to articulate it both in writing and in speaking. So it changed me as a person, and I found joy showing up every single day, learning from the things that I write. Whenever I write, if you notice my style of writing, I don't tell my stories. Amaka, you're a very good storyteller.
I am. That's my own style.
I think I tell good stories, but I tell them when I'm coaching my community.
Mm,
On LinkedIn, I'm super careful just because of the initial question that I
right.
answered.
Mhm,
That is why I translate those stories into just guidance. So that's
mm,
how I show up.
mm,
Now, what I would say is it has changed me as a person, and that is the ultimate gain from showing up because it has helped me build resilience. For the last 3 years, I've written every single day on LinkedIn.
mm.
No day. I've not missed any day. I'll probably miss it one of these days
I'll
because
clap to that.
I
That's
don't want to
amazing.
hold that record anymore. I want to leave it for the upcoming guys to
No,
hold that
please
record.
hold your record.
I don't want to hold it anymore. So
Yeah.
I've written every single day. That has tested my resilience. There were days
Mm,
when I would work late into the night, but I would still have to come up with a post. And I'm not so good at scheduling because I work with my intuition to make my post. So I'm not too good at scheduling. In fact, it was one of the people in my community who said, "Oh, Ray, you must schedule your post." I'm like, okay, whatever.
mm,
Um, so so there is that. So who I have become is as a result of how I've shown up on LinkedIn. That's one. Number two
mm,
is let me see if I can articulate this properly. People live more successful and thriving life because I have showed up. People
mm,
getting jobs that I could get the same jobs, but imagine me getting like 10 jobs or 15 jobs in one life. So it's just this my one life, but because I've decided to impact others, so there are people getting jobs. So it's me. So every single time they come back, oh, well, that post you made, this is what I did, this is what it became. Every
mm,
single time people come back and say that to me, we call it testimonies. No, if I was a pastor now,
In
that's a
fact, those
testimony every
testimonies
Sunday.
is sweet on the tummy.
So every single time they come, it tells
Mm,
me that I'm not living for myself alone. And I was still saying this morning in my community, I was saying you need to stop thinking about yourself because at the point where this is how you know the validity of your dreams when it is no longer about you. So now it is about the people, and people are
mm,
building their brands, they're building the future, people are moving jobs and all of that. So I
mm,
can see all of that as it's come through. Now, one thing that I realized while I was still mentoring people for free, like you would come into my DM and say, "Oh, Ray, can I talk to you?" And I'm like, "Oh, let's hop on the call. That's fine. I'm more than happy to do it for you." Then we'll up on calls, people will not show up, all of that. And I am so my time is so sacred to me. I do not want to. If you tell me you want to meet me for 30 minutes, I'm going to cut it in half every single time. So because my time is so sacred, I'm like, no, I know that I have a lot to offer, but I have to offer it to the people who
who would
absolutely
value it?
value
Mm,
it. That's it. So at that point, I began to put dollar amount against my service. Now,
mm,
what then that did was it changed me again into becoming more involved because if you're taking people's money, it's
now
a
you,
different ball game,
yeah,
right?
yep, yep,
So
it's
it's not like
deeper.
me just coming into just showing up
Mm,
anyhow. This is now me actually thinking about no, this has to develop, this has to bring transformation to these
has to
people.
make a difference.
And it
Yeah.
doesn't matter whether it's $1 you're paying me or $100. It doesn't matter what you're paying me. It
Mm,
just has to bring transformation to you. And so there's money. So it's brought me money. I've had businesses. I've had, people invite me to events, conferences. I'll speak here. I'll speak there. So there is money involved as well. But ultimately, and then if I want to break it down, like I've got many digital products, many digital assets that I've built over the last 3 years. That is there, seller. Every day you've made a sale, you've made a sale, you've made a sale. It just keeps coming, you've made a sale. I've got a community as well that pays me on a monthly basis and all of that. What I tell my community is that don't just say, I want to post on LinkedIn. You have to decide why you are posting on LinkedIn. If it's that you want to create a business off the back of it,
we can't say
from
this
day one,
enough.
you need to know from day one. Don't just show up and don't stay too long doing what does not work for you. So, for instance, if at the end of the day you want to create a coaching business, and maybe I am the one that you have, maybe you follow me and like I want to do exactly what Ore, you know what you need to do. If you want to do exactly what I need to do, you need to message me and you need to say, Ore, I want to do exactly what you want to do. Can you walk me through it? Exactly. What people do is they post every day without intention, so they then get confused,
Mm,
feel like they don't have clarity.
Mm.
Because the reason why they don't have clarity is they want to get to the point where they can build a business off the back of their posting every day and showing up
Oh,
every day.
you are
But
giving too much value.
they are dissociating themselves from it. They're like, I'm not charging them. Everything I'm doing is for free. I'm not charging. Hop on a call with me. No. I stayed too long on that mountain, and that's why I preach it everywhere I go. No matter who you are, you must have something up on Seller or whatever, on whatever it is. Have something up there that has a dollar amount. When people want to talk to you, let them pay to talk to you. An amount that is enough to make you happy and enough to give them transformation. But people have to pay for your time. Then you become serious. Then they become serious. Then you can have immense value at skill for them.
Yeah, like this you've said so much that is I know like our time is up. We could keep going on and on, but I want to be really respectful of the time. At this juncture, I'm going to, I think, okay, Emeka is one of my closest mentees actually. He says Dr. Amaka has not missed a day. I'm still in shock how you people do it. It's just, it's like I've been through things that I still show up and write on LinkedIn. And even me, I don't understand, right? I've been on LinkedIn maybe over a year, and honestly, I've not missed a day. Through graduating from PhD, defending my PhD, my mother being in an accident, moving to a different state. I think it's a mindset thing. I think there's a way you can really position your mind and you begin to learn those disciplines. But let me not go down that whole. Coach Ore, I'm really grateful for your time. Like, I'm happy that you came here and you've shared this deep wisdom. We had a lot of people. I can't even go through all the chats because it's going to take all our time. But before we wrap up, something big is coming, right? Me and Coach Ore, we are working on something. We are working on a collab that I'm so excited about. I'm really, really so excited about it. So we'll have a workshop which will be in September. So keep your eyes out for when we'll put out the flyers, when we'll talk about it. It's going to be a 2 days intensive workshop for us to really, some of these things is not enough to fit it in an hour. As much as, in fact, I had questions that I had to skip because I'm looking at the time. There's a lot that requires you learning, hands-on training, and hand-holding and things like that. So if you enjoyed what you heard, it's just the tip of the iceberg. So keep your eyes open. If you're not connected to me, if you've not connected to her, I don't know what you're doing on LinkedIn. I won't tell you to connect, but I'll just say I don't know what you're doing on LinkedIn. That's all I'm going to say. So we have our workshop coming. So keep an eye out. In the next few weeks, we'll start talking more about that and you'll hear more about that. So Dr. Augusta, no, how do I go that angle? Dr. Augusta, final word, Coach Ore, final word, and we can be out of here. Are you frozen, Dr. Augusta? Is she
I am.
frozen? Or
I
is it
don't think I
me?
am. I
Okay.
don't think I am frozen.
Okay. You're
I'm
thinking.
just really impressed. There's some people that you admire from far, and when you meet them, you're like, oh my god. They say don't meet your heroes, but I am blown away by this particular hero of mine, and I can't wait for the next one. I'm the first to
Mm.
sign up. Sign me up now. Um, I just I really don't have last words. I think one of the things I noted down before I got awestruck again was when she said during her discretionary hours she's always building or learning,
Mm.
and then like you need to know why you're showing up on LinkedIn, because they said direction is better than speed. So if you just want to keep posting, why are you posting, right? As
Mm.
Amaka used to say, what do you want to be visible for? And
I
then
say
again
that so much. I get so
and then again I see
frustrated.
people putting the cart before the horse,
Mm-hmm.
right? They show up online saying that they are an expert in this thing, hoping that by saying that they're an expert, it means that they're going to become an expert. Hmm. Maybe
Mm.
there's sense in that, but then when you now try to contact them for their services, they'll just be like, "See, it's just branding, though. It's just faking it. You're
It's
making."
heartbreaking. It's happened to me more times than I can count.
Yes. So a
I'm
lot
just
of
not
people
going
think
to
that
that.
since
Mm.
ChatGPT is going to do the work, I will just keep on using ChatGPT to create posts. And when people ask me, I'm just going to fake it till I make it.
Mm.
Well,
That's a different
I
topic.
have nothing to say on that because I'm not a coach. Well, maybe sign up for Ore and Amaka's coaching session so that you know how to position yourself appropriately. Thank you so much, Ore,
Yeah.
and I appreciate you for spending time with us. Seriously, thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Augusta. Thank you for your insights and for your, for the vibe that you bring. You make my life easy. So thank you for being here. Coach Ore, please final word. Sorry we've taken your time. It's just
Oh
because we're
no,
enjoying you too much. We don't want you to go. So I'm really sorry.
no,
Final.
that makes sense. That makes sense. And thank you very much, Dr. Augusta, as well, for the things you've said. And I'm going to talk about. There was one thing you said about taking action. That I'll make that my final word because I think it's very important. The reason why I personally have skilled in building my brand is because when I learn something new, I don't wait. I don't sleep on it. I don't wait. If I am learning it right now, I am immediately grabbing my Mac and I'm testing it. I have to test it. My community members know that if I find a new tool, I'm coming to tell them, oh, by the way, guys, I actually found a tool. You guys will know it's an AI tool, right? So you know what I did? I put all my content, all my 2025, any content I write. So this is the month of August. So I have a Google Doc that says August 2025 content, right? So everything I'm writing in August, you will find it in that Google Doc. So you know what I did? I took that Google Doc, put it in LLM notebook, this Google LLM notebook. I put it into it and I told it to generate for me a podcast. So it did generate for me everything I wrote in the month of January 2025. It generated a podcast, a 23 minutes podcast that I was blown away by it. Okay. When I initially learned about it, I learned about it from a random podcast. I just heard it in passing and I did it, and my mind is blown by what it came out with. Second one was the Whisper Flow AI tool, which is basically I don't need my keyboard. I just need to whisper. I used it to write my newsletter last week. I've used it to write my newsletter this week, and it's pre-scheduled to go out tomorrow. All I need to do is, and I have a lot of things for, especially for those who talk to themselves. I know most people like to talk to themselves. I just use whisper, just talk as though you're talking to yourself. It generates the post for you and everything. So if you are learning something new, no matter what it is, don't write. Your note is full. You have like 3 journals already this year or 5 journals this year
Do it.
with less than one action. So, and I was saying to my community as well this morning, Dr. Amaka, I said to them, I said, you have to make sure that you're not delaying action and you'll be saying that you are praying about it because you've been praying for the last 2 years. And those people who are not even religious, they've taken many actions since the time they got the idea. They've known 10 ways of how it doesn't work. Now they are scaling and making a lot of money. So if
Right.
you hear anything new, act on it. And the world is not waiting. What used to work last year doesn't work this year again, if you notice. The
Yeah.
world is not waiting. So thank you, Dr. Augusta, for raising that point because I think it's very important. Action, action, action. No matter the intelligent things you hear, if you don't take one simple action, life isn't going to improve. So
Yeah.
thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for sharing. It's like you saved the best for last, right? Literally, it's like you saved the best for last, and you are absolutely right. I'm so grateful for you, and just I'm so excited for the magic that we are going to create together. Because I keep saying that prayer all the time. May my people find me. May I find my people. I really want to find people who are on the same wavelength of thinking. The people who you could really, because it's easier to work with people who you are thinking together with, and you have the same mindset towards life and towards being visible, towards career progression, and so many things. And in the sea of the noise, it's not very easy to find those people. Honestly, it's not. I think I've been lucky to find people like Augusta, Emeka, Divine, the people who have stuck with me and we've continued to grow together. So I'm not going to keep going on and on. I just saw this chat and it made me happy. Dr. Elizabeth says, I stumbled upon this event and I know it was no coincidence. God brought me here. So that's why it's important for you to share the event. You don't know who needs to hear it and what difference it will make for them. Dr. Elizabeth, I've never seen your name before. It's not very familiar to me, but I'm happy you joined us. If you're not following Dr. Augusta, Coach Ore, myself, you want to follow us because that's the side of LinkedIn you want to be on. And it's not pride, no pun intended. All right. Thank you so much for coming. We are going to end our show here. Like I said, we have a workshop coming in September. Keep an eye out. You get all the information about it. I'm going to play my video to wrap up the show and I'll say au revoir. It's au revoir, right, Augusta? Augusta speaks French. Is it au revoir that is bye bye? Tell me.
On point, you're on point. Au revoir.
Okay. I'm learning.
Success begins with the right guidance and opportunities. And at Scholar Up Mentoring Academy, we are here to help you unlock your full potential. Whether you're preparing for graduate school applications or building a standout professional presence on LinkedIn, we provide the tools and support you need to thrive. Our programs are designed to help you craft a compelling personal brand, position yourself for global opportunities, and achieve your dreams. Led by Dr. Amaka Ifaduba, a dedicated mentor and coach, Scholar Up empowers you with personalized mentoring, actionable resources, and proven strategies to take bold steps toward a brighter future. Scholar Up Mentoring Academy is more than a program. It's a community dedicated to helping you succeed. Take the first step today and discover how we can guide you on your journey to greatness. Follow our page for updates and access all our resources at linktree.com/scholarupacademy. Your success story starts here.
Okay, bye everyone. I'm going to end the stream in
Bye.